I think this is the third time that I've been in front of you on this bill. I've been up here every time. You know, Joplin, from the moment the storm hit, literally 2 minutes after the storm hit, we were helping our neighbors and we were helping ourselves. I came out of my house that day, and in a few minutes, there was a man down the street, house blown completely away, but he had a Kubota tractor that was sitting in his driveway. He had pulled that tractor out and he was pushing debris out of the road so that emergency trucks could get up and down the road. When I walked down the street to go check on a neighbor, a nurse practitioner in the middle, about 3 houses down, came out of her house and wanted to know if I was okay. I said, yep, I'm fine. You go back in there, get your garage door up, and if I find anybody that's hurt, I will send them your way. There was a man down at the end of the street. He was a realtor. His house was absolutely devastated. He lived right across the street. Some of you might remember Chuck Surface. Lived right across the street from Chuck Surface. That man was going around, and the only thing he really knew to do at that point was to go around and shut gas off, because we had gas meters that were broken and spewing gas all over town. So we're here today to talk to you about Joplin continuing to help itself. We're not asking for any special anything from the state of Missouri. As has been mentioned a couple of times, we do have letters of support from every taxing jurisdiction, including school district. I won't say that was easy. We had a lot of negotiation with the school district. We had a lot of conversation with the school district, but ultimately they agreed with us, and again, standing shoulder to shoulder, as Mr. Wallace said, they agreed that this was the best thing for Joplin going forward so that we could redevelop. We aren't asking to change the requirements for forming a TIF. In fact, we've already formed the TIF following the existing statute. But what we are asking for is consideration of a disaster-related TIF in order to be able to capture those increments of state taxes that would otherwise flow to the state due to this development. Specifically, the legislation says that if a majority of the redevelopment area is involved in a disaster, then the redevelopment project is eligible for a state disaster TIF. Now, that doesn't short-circuit any of the process that exists currently with the DED approvals and the appropriation from the legislature and all those things. All of those continue to exist. It would allow, however, that 50% of the new state sales tax revenue and income tax revenue could flow into the TIF. I think it's important to understand that those are new incremental revenues. That is new revenue from jobs that are produced within the TIF district that are due to the redevelopment. So this is all new revenue. Additionally, this legislation reauthorizes an existing museum district and expands it just a little bit to include the cultural amenities that Mr. Wallace was talking about. This legislation, first and foremost, allows Joplin to redevelop. If any of you were there the day after, and if any of you have been there recently, as city attorney, it has been an amazing thing to watch. People came out of the woodwork to help us. We've had over right at 1 million hours of volunteer labor in Joplin. It blows away anything that FEMA has ever seen in a disaster. And it's people from all over the country and all over the world, in fact, coming to help us. But first and foremost, the citizens of Joplin were there to help themselves. So, in summary, we want to continue to help ourselves. We want to take the revenue that's being generated in our city based from our redevelopment efforts, and we want to keep that in Joplin so that we can keep those redevelopment efforts going. Without something like this TIF, there will be areas that either won't redevelop or it will take a very long time to redevelop. This will help us get back and fully redevelop much quicker. So the City of Joplin asks that the committee pass and approve House Bill 158. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions for the witnesses?